Welcome to the Inner Ascent, a journey beyond the surface. Each week, we distill powerful insights in mindset, health, personal evolution, and conscious growth. Unlock the layers of your mind, one ascent at a time. Episode 2. Neville Goddard. Consciousness is the key. What if your entire world was nothing more than your consciousness pushed outward? What if the secret to creating your ideal life lay not in effort or strategy, but in assumption, imagination, and the feeling of the wish fulfilled? In this episode of The Inner Ascent, we dive deep into the transformative teachings of Neville Goddard, the man who taught that consciousness is the only reality, that your I am is God in action, that your inner conversations shape your world, and that what you imagine and feel with conviction must come to pass. We'll explore the principles behind his radical philosophy, why imagination creates reality, how assumptions harden into fact, why you must live in the end, not strive toward it, and how to master the art of inner revision, mental diet, and self-concept. So sit back, tune in, and begin the shift from hoping to knowing, from wishing to being.
Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever felt like you're simply, reacting to life, like you're caught in a loop instead of actually creating it? What if the key to unlocking your deepest desires wasn't about doing more, but about understanding something really profound, something already inside you?
Yeah, this deep dive is all about the teachings of Neville Goddard. Really transformative stuff. We're drawing from a whole collection of his lectures, books, his insights, and we're going to explore his perspective on consciousness, imagination. I mean, it's pretty radical how they shape your reality. The goal here, really, is to give you the fundamental principles Goddard laid out, sort of a shortcut to understanding how you can be the conscious creator of your own life.
Okay, so Goddard's whole philosophy seems to pivot on this one, kind of mind-bending idea. Your consciousness is the only reality. And he wasn't speaking metaphorically, was he? He meant it.
Yeah.
Literally.
Exactly. Not figuratively, actually. And that's often the first hurdle for people. He was really emphatic. He believed that what you see outside yourself isn't just influenced by your mind. It is a projection, like a dream almost. Your I amness, that basic awareness of being, that, he said, is God.
Wow, okay.
It's the name, the power by which everything is made. And he'd argue, it's not blasphemy. It's the highest spiritual truth. You're not separate from that creative power. You are it.
So this idea that every I am statement is a decree, that really changes how we think about just everyday self-talk, doesn't it? It means when you say maybe internally I am wealthy, you're actually creating. But if you think I am broke or I am sick, you're using the same power, but maybe against yourself.
That's the implication. It's immense. Every single I am, whether you say it out loud or just think it consciously or unconsciously, it's a creative act, a decree. It's why he stressed so much that whatever follows I am shapes your world. It's not just like a mental trick. It's the fundamental mechanism. It totally flips cause and effect on its head.
Right. And if we really get that, then the world we see, the physical world, it isn't the cause of what happens to us. It's just a shadow. An echo.
Precisely. A shadow, a mirror, an external reflection of your internal state. When Goddard says the world is just a shadow, it sounds simple, but it's incredibly radical.
Yeah, it changes how you view, everything. Blame, control.
It completely removes the idea of being a victim, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The insight isn't just that your inner state influences things, it's the sole cause. So every problem, every conflict, every limitation, it starts and ends right here, inside your own consciousness. It shifts problem solving from trying to change the outside world.
To changing yourself.
Exactly, to internal mastery. Your outer world just has to reflect what you hold inside.
I'm still kind of wrapping my head around that. Nowhere to change but self. That shifts the whole burden, doesn't it? If the world's just a mirror, then to change the reflection, you have to change what's causing the reflection.
Yeah.
Yourself. You can't change anything out there until there's an inner shift.
An inner revolution, as you might put it.
I think we've all had those silent arguments in our head, or mentally labeled someone as difficult or untrustworthy. Goddard's saying those aren't just thoughts blowing in the wind, they're creative acts.
Absolutely. He called it your inner talking,
Hmm.
your internal conversations. And it's far from harmless. It's the blueprint you're constantly feeding to reality. If you keep having those inner arguments or keep seeing someone in a negative light internally, you'll find they often act in ways that just confirm what you were thinking.
So you're almost creating their behavior towards you.
In a way, yes. Because, as Goddard put it, man can only act towards us based on our perception of them. It's a direct link. The responsibility lands right back on our own inner state.
Okay, so if the inner world is the cause, how do we actively shape it? How do we use it to create what we want? This must be where feeling is the secret comes in, right? Sounds simple, but what's the mechanism?
Yeah, this is where the rubber meets the road. Goddard taught that sensation, feeling, precedes manifestation. Feeling is the language the subconscious mind understands. And it's the subconscious that does the heavy lifting, bringing things into form. And the crucial part is this. Your subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between something vividly imagined.
And something actually happening.
Exactly. It takes it as real. So the wish, your desire, it has to be felt as a state that already is, not something that will be.
Right, so saying I am healthy is powerful, but I will be healthy, that implies you aren't healthy now. It confesses the lack.
Precisely. Feeling I will be keeps you in the state of not having it.
But how do you genuinely feel something that isn't physically here yet? I mean, that feels like the big hurdle for a lot of people.
That's the art of it, isn't it? To manifest, you have to assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You live from the end result. You act internally as if it's already done. So you stop waiting for the money to arrive before you let yourself feel secure. You stop waiting for the perfect partner to show up before you allow yourself to feel loved and cherished.
You give yourself those feelings now, regardless of the outside circumstances.
Exactly. You generate the feeling first. So for financial freedom, maybe you don't visualize piles of cash. Instead, you sit quietly and you conjure up the feeling. What would it feel like? The relief, the ease, the freedom, that internal sensation.
And this isn't just a one-time thing, is it? Because your current reality might be shouting the complete opposite. Goddard seems to really emphasize persistence here. He says the outer world must eventually conform to your inner assumption.
It's unwavering. Persistence trumps circumstance. Remember, your current reality is just the echo of your past beliefs and imaginal acts. Worry, for Goddard, was like a warning light. It signals you're doubting your own creative power.
And doubt weakens the manifestation.
It does. You have to stand firm in the belief, the feeling that it's done, that everything's working out for you. And it's not about effort or forcing it. It's about embodiment. You have to become it internally before you see it externally.
Okay, so understanding imagination is the key creative force. Goddard then gave us some very practical tools, didn't he? The first step sounds almost too simple, but it's crucial. Define your objective. Know exactly what you want. He called this your Nebo, right? Like a mountain that seems hard to climb.
Yes, clarity is step one. Once you have that clear objective, that mountain, the next step is to construct an event. A short, simple scene that would naturally follow the fulfillment of your desire. And importantly, you need to be the central actor in this scene, not just watching yourself.
So you're experiencing it from a first-person perspective.
Absolutely. You make elsewhere here and then now.
Yeah.
You experience it in your imagination as if it's physically happening right now. So for that promotion example, maybe you imagine a friend shaking your hand saying, "Congratulations." Feel the grip, hear their voice.
Or for a new house, you'd imagine, what, touching the walls, feeling the keys in your hand?
Exactly. Touching the specific countertop in that kitchen. Feeling the texture, smelling the newness, feeling the joy of being there. Make it sensory.
And to help get into that state, he talked about the state akin to sleep, or SATS, getting physically still, drowsy, almost asleep, but still aware. Why is that specific state so important?
That drowsy, relaxed state. It's key because it quiets the conscious, rational mind, the part of you that might argue, but this isn't real, or how could this possibly happen? In SATS, the subconscious is more open, more receptive. You can impress it directly with the feeling of your wish fulfilled. So in that state, you really engage your senses within the imagined scene. Feel the solidity, hear the sound, smell the scents, taste it, experience the emotion of it being real.
And within SATS, he suggested the lullaby technique, just repeating a short phrase implying fulfillment, like thank you or isn't it wonderful? Over and over again, it sounds so simple.
Deceptively simple, but powerful. It leverages how the subconscious works. It responds to feeling, to repetition, to simple affirmations of a state already achieved. It doesn't need a complex plot. It needs the feeling of completion. Goddard also mentioned some interesting little signs that might show you successfully impressed the subconscious. Things like waking up with really dry hands or mouth, or noticing your kidneys were unusually active.
Really?
Yeah, or sometimes seeing a sort of liquid blue light when meditating. But he always added, not everyone gets those signs, and they aren't necessary. The feeling is the main thing.
Okay, beyond those specific imaginal acts in SATS, Goddard also stressed the power of our ongoing inner conversations, our mental diet, that constant inner chatter. It's not just noise, it's actively creating.
Absolutely. He saw it as a primary creative force. Your inner talking is constantly being heard by your inner ear, your subconscious, and it shapes your reality. So to change your outer world, you have to change those inner conversations. Make sure your internal speech aligns with your desired state. And it's not just about, thinking a positive thought occasionally.
It's a whole shift in your mental food, as he put it.
Exactly. He gave that example of the woman at the market checkout. She always muttered internally, oh, I always have to wait in line. And she did. When she deliberately changed her inner script to something like, isn't it wonderful no matter when I come, I walk right up, her experience changed. The line seemed to melt away for her. So it's a sustained conscious effort to manage that inner dialogue.
And another really fascinating technique, revision. The idea that our present reality reflects our past beliefs and imaginings, but we're not stuck with it. We can actually go back and rewrite past events in our imagination. How does that work? How does reimagining the past change the present?
It's not about denying what factually happened. It's about changing its meaning and its impact on you now. So, say you had a memory of a big failure, something that still makes you cringe. In your imagination, you replay that scene, but this time, you revise it to have the outcome you wished had happened. You make it end successfully. By doing that, you change the emotional charge of that memory. You drain its negative power over your present state. And by changing the past internally, you alter its consequences in your present and future. You're rewriting your personal history, and reality responds to the new story.
Wow. Okay. Let's maybe tackle some common hurdles people run into with this. A big one is getting bogged down in the how and the when. People assume the feeling, but then they start worrying about how it could possibly happen. But Goddard says that's not our job, right?
I'll go.
The dimensionally larger self, the subconscious, handles the details.
Exactly. You are relieved of that burden. Trying to figure out the how with your conscious, logical mind. It's like trying to map out a cross-country flight plan while you're sitting in the airplane seat. Your conscious mind just doesn't have the overview or the power to orchestrate it. You trust the infinite intelligence within, that deeper part of you, to arrange the bridge of incidents, the sequence of events that leads to fulfillment. And this also addresses the fear some people have. Will my desire harm someone else?
Right, like the example of wanting security and then an uncle passes away, leaving an inheritance.
Goddard's take was that your greater self uses circumstances that are already part of the natural unfolding of life. Uncle John's passing was within his own life's timing. Your desire didn't cause it. Your assumption of security simply allowed that event to be the means by which your security manifested. The deeper intelligence works harmoniously.
Okay, that addresses the how. What about patience, the when? Because sometimes you assume the feeling, you persist, but things seem to take time in this, 3D world.
Yes, time does seem to beat slowly here, as Goddard might say. But he emphasized that the desire is already fulfilled in imagination. In the only true reality, the moment you successfully assume the feeling. The unfolding in the physical world follows its own course. Divine timing, you could call it. And sometimes, delays aren't denials. They might be necessary for preparation, yours or others, or even a form of protection you aren't aware of. Trust the timing.
That leads into the question of action, too. A lot of self-help focuses on massive action, but Goddard seemed to distinguish between forced action and inspired action.
Big distinction. Trying to force things to happen from a place of feeling like frantically applying for jobs when you feel desperate and poor is often counterproductive. It just reinforces the feeling of lack. But when you successfully shift your inner state, when you truly assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, actions often arise naturally, effortlessly. You get an idea, you feel moved to call someone, an opportunity appears. That's inspired action. It flows from the changed consciousness.
It's action born from fulfillment, not from lack.
Exactly. It resonates with the new state, rather than fighting against the old one.
Okay, and taking this inner reality focus even further, Goddard's interpretation of the Bible is fascinating. He don't see it as literal history at all, did he? He saw it as psychological drama.
Completely. He viewed the entire Bible as an allegory of the human psyche, a collection of profound psychological truths playing out within the mind of every single individual. The characters aren't historical figures outside of you. They represent states of consciousness, principles, faculties within you.
Can you give an example? How did he interpret someone like Moses or Jesus?
Sure. Moses, for instance, wasn't just a guy who led people out of Egypt. He represented, for Goddard, the drawing forth of our awareness from the subconscious, the waters of consciousness, realizing our creative power. Moab, where Moses died, symbolized the subconscious, the mother-father principle. Jesus represented the awakened imagination, the perfected human consciousness, your own wonderful human imagination fulfilling God's promise. Judas wasn't a traitor in the historical sense, but symbolized the state of knowing detachment required to change your concept of self. You have to betray your old self to become the new. Mary was the receptive aspect of consciousness, Tamar the ideal you desire, Barabbas the current state of lack you want to release. It's all internal.
Even challenging passages like, I come not to bring peace, but a sword.
He saw that as truth acting like a sword, cutting away illusions and false beliefs. It divides your old concepts from the new, remolding your mind to set you free. It's a psychological battle within.
So if all this creative power, this divine drama is happening within us, why are we even here? Why this earthly experience? What did Goddard see as the purpose?
He often described Earth as a great schoolroom. We're here to learn how to consciously use our creative power, our imagination, which is God. We're here to learn to become deliberate creators. There's no original sin just by being born. Failure isn't punishment. It's part of the learning curve. You experiment, you learn, you persist. If you persist in your assumption, you will succeed eventually. You're developing that divine muscle, the ultimate purpose, to awaken to who you truly are, to reveal the fodder your own imagination by making visible all the wonderful things you can conceive. God became human so that humans could become God, remembering their true identity.
It's really quite something. Neville Goddard turned so many conventional ideas completely upside down. He really invites us to stop looking outside for power, for causes, for solutions, and to look inward instead.
Yeah.
It feels like a fundamental shift, doesn't it? From just reacting to life to consciously, deliberately creating it.
It is a fundamental shift, and it leaves you, the listener, with a really profound question, doesn't it? If your consciousness truly is the only reality, and if your imagination is God in action, what transformation, what incredible new reality will you dare to assume and feel into being right now? Knowing that the world, your world, has no choice but to eventually conform and reflect it back to you.
You've been listening to The Inner Ascent, where growth begins from within. If today's reflection resonated with you, consider sharing it or revisiting it later. Until next time, stay aware, stay curious, and keep rising.